I want to talk about the whole choosing records to play because it's very different in the US than it is in America, than it is in the UK, from what I gather and from what I've been told. Um, how does the whole radio plug-in and getting your music played on radio work? From a commercial, from a terrestrial and to satellite? Like, what's the two differences, or is there not?
So as far as the satellite goes, I'm more of like on the air side of it. So I don't do much of the programming.
Yeah,
So that's a different team. I just come into the studio and the music log is pretty much ready for me. And as a
yeah,
presenter, I just kind of need to see what I'm going to be playing and be knowledgeable to
of
talk
course.
about it.
Yeah,
I have some music director experience on the commercial side of it. And, I could tell you it was competitive, right? We would have, a music day every
yeah,
week, and the representatives from the different labels would come in and they'd be pushing their latest song or their latest artist, and they would play the record for you, and then you would have a weekly music meeting with other members of your staff. It was usually just me and the program director at the time, and we would make a decision. I was always, even on the pop side of it, trying to push an extra dance record or two, but it was very slotted, right? There was maybe only, I can speak on the dance music side. There was maybe only room for, let's say, two or three dance records at the time to go into rotation.
yeah.
It was very, very slotted. And, maybe another conversation we could have, later on, or even a different point, just the methodology of radio sometimes is I've sometimes struggled with it because I feel like, as a heavy listener, and I guess I'm not the one that would be programmed to, but I feel like some stations you hear the same 5, 7
Yeah.
songs over and over again. But the methodology is, and I guess I understand this, is the average person is listening for only a set period of time. And when they put the radio on, they want to hear the hits. But the person who I guess loses out then is the heavy listener who maybe
Yeah.
wants to get a little bit deeper in the weeds.
Yeah.
So as far as commercial radio goes, you don't really get much of an opportunity to do that. With Sirius XM, at least we have our niche channels, and you can have channels that will do that for you. And I think there's like 10 different BPM channels, for
Yeah.
example, right? You can get your BPM workout music, you can get BPM instrumental, BPM new music, and that I think people who are core fans, I think, can certainly appreciate that a little bit.
Yeah, it must be tough because there's only a finite amount of time. Let's say, for instance, your radio show is 2 hours long. You only have 2 hours worth of music to play, and there's literally the world of music to play. Like, you could literally play you could play forever and then constantly play new music. Um, the
It
whole
is difficult. I could tell you, I also host a show on Studio 54
Yeah.
radio called the New Disco Hour.
Mm.
And that's a 60-minute show. And there's only 1 hour in there, and that's on
Yeah.
once a week. And there's a lot of music in that genre that we would like to be able to put in. But, how many songs can you play in an hour, right? 12 or 13 songs, and that's it. So, from that angle, for sure, it becomes challenging, and sometimes you have to push something till next week, and then maybe a couple songs come out during the week that even push that one further back. So it is a little bit of a challenge, especially when you're time constrained like that.
Is that very disco orientated, Studio 54?
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's kind of a tribute to the nightclub, and I
Yeah.
think they actually own the license on the
Oh,
channel.
really?
So it is affiliated with the official iconic place. So it's all 70s and 80s dance music for the most part. We have a couple of weekly mix shows that are featured on there. And then I host this New Disco Hour, which we started several years ago, because anybody who listens to music, I think today, you can see there's a lot of disco influence
Yeah.
in the sound. And even you get a lot of mainstream artists, Kylie Minogue,
Yeah.
Dua Lipa, for example, who are, even Lizzo to a degree, bringing that sound into their music. And we thought it would be cool to create maybe a little bit more of a current-based show for that channel.
Yeah.
And the ability to feature, some of these modern artists playing disco. And we've
Yeah.
had some guests on that show, some of today's artists. We've had Kylie Minogue, we had Adam Lambert on recently, who just did a really nice cover of Sylvester's You Make Me Real, along with
Yeah.
Sigala. Idina Menzel, the Broadway queen, is putting out an album, and it's going to be a disco-based album.
Wow.
And to hear the enthusiasm that they have to talk about this is pretty cool. Steve Angelo's new song, actually, we just featured on the show last week, and he's sampling a Carrie Lucas song from the late 1970s.
Yeah.
So the impact that disco had and is still having on music is pretty amazing for such a controversial genre, if you will, considering how it rose and fell so quickly during its day.